message.
Yeah.
So see, we're live, and everyone out there can. Hi, Rose. Thanks for joining us today. You stayed home from the gym. Oh, you're so sweet. I hope you can get a workout in later. So it looks like we're all set up today, and we can see everything. So that's good. All right. Do you want me to count backwards?
Yep. Just count back from 5 for me.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. And I don't know the name of your guest in the studio.
Isabel.
Isabel, just count back from 5 for me.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. Make sure you're just a few inches there from that microphone.
Just don't eat it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who's been on it.
Oh. And I was hungry, and now I'm not anymore. Thank you.
See? It's called weight loss.
All right. Well, it's just about 14 seconds from the open here, and then I do have Stephanie and Katie on the hold.
Sweet. I'll bring Stephanie. Katie, I think Katie comes in first.
Katie does?
I think that's right. I have it written down here somewhere.
All right.
So I'll bring you in when I bring you in. Just very organic conversation, girly.
Sounds good.
But I will have I will have the bios here, so you can see the bios of who we're talking to in case you wanted to ask them a question about something.
Welcome to Lead Up for Women.
And then this is what the show description is
with Colleen
today.
Biggs. Are you ready to lead without permission and take the steps needed to live your best life? Whether you want to start the business of your dreams or celebrate your present and future accomplishments, you're definitely in the right place. Now, here is your host, Colleen Biggs.
Hey there, listeners. Welcome to the show. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon where you're listening from. We're in like 7 or 8 countries now, so thank you. We're so blessed and have so much gratitude for all of our listeners that we have now. And you are listening to Lead Up for Women, Speak Up to Lead Up, and I am your host, Colleen Biggs. And today, I brought in a very special co-host. I have Isabel Donadio. I was going to say Donadio again because that's how Donadio, and she's getting married in how many days?
In 20 days. Not that I'm counting.
20 days.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, and so she brought me her book today, Finishing is Happiness, 7 Ways Big Idea Entrepreneurs Can Become Big Business Finishers. And for the Facebook fans out there, they can see this. And if you're a listener and you want to go check out our Facebook page, just go over to Facebook and go to Lead Up for Women. We're right out there. And her soon-to-be hubby, David Fagan, gave me this book, Word Genius, What to Say and How to Say It. It's kind of like a ultimate branding Bible. I carry it around in my car, and it's all about words, elevator speeches, branding. I love just the words part. You know, in the back, they have all of these favorite words and how to use them and why to use them. And
it also has synonyms in there, so if you are making a post or writing an email and you're using a lot of the same word like awesome or amazing or fantastic, words like that, it gives you similar words like that, so you're not using the same word every time.
Yeah, constantly using amazing and awesome like I do.
Oh, yeah. but you know what? It's lovely when you do it.
So Isabel how tall are you?
I am 5'7".
I'm just trying to give our listeners a little glimpse in you. So she's 5'7", has dark hair. Hazel eyes, super beautiful, olive skin.
Sweet.
Yes, way darker than me. I have to go for the fake tan to even get there. And I'm just a blonde girl, so we're totally opposite
gorgeous.
in our. Oh, thank you. So I wanted to introduce Isabel and give her a chance to talk a little bit about herself because she's going to be joining me for the duration of the show today. So tell everyone a little bit about how you got started and why you do what you do.
Yeah. So how I got started in this whole world of being engaged with speakers and authors and entrepreneurs and life changers. I actually started out as a makeup artist on a TV show called The Hollywood Entrepreneur that happened to be hosted by David Fagan and Marcella Thedford. Who is an actor, and he's an amazing guy.
I met him. I really loved his energy.
Oh yeah, he's a big
he's so
guy.
Sweet and just like a teddy bear. Yeah.
But when you give him like a character, like a really tough character, he really portrays that full body, and it's really amazing. But so that's how I got introduced to this whole world, and eventually I started to become an event producer, a manager of sorts, And so that's why I started to meet more and more people. And eventually I noticed a niche where people were wearing all the hats in their business. They really weren't
very common.
Very common, and
very common.
And it can be hard to let your team in, let your staff in on what you're thinking for the projects that are coming up. So I came up with my business, Talent Support Services. And so I support the talent, which are speakers, authors, and experts, and help them get back to what they're passionate about by helping them out with the 4 T's. 3 of them are team, technology, and time. If you want the 4th one, you'll have to get my book.
Okay. So to get her book for the 4th T, Finishing is Happiness, 7 Ways Big Idea Entrepreneurs Can Become Big Business Finishers. They can find this on Amazon. It's a #1 bestseller on Amazon. Is that correct?
It is a #1 bestseller on Amazon. It's currently as an ebook, and it's only for 99 cents.
Oh, really?
It's only 99 cents.
Come on, you guys. 99 cents. Everyone can get out there and go down to Amazon and look up Finishing is Happiness. Isabel Donadio.
Yes.
Said it right that time. And then if someone wanted to get in contact with you, if they were a speaker, an author, and they wanted to get in contact with you, how would they do that?
They can do that through my email or even my direct cell phone number.
Okay, and what is your email?
tssfinisher@gmail.com.
Okay.
And my phone number is it okay to put that out
You
there?
can do your phone number.
All right.
It's going to the entire world right now. So
That's okay.
as long as you're okay with
my phone's
that.
on Do Not Disturb right now, so if everyone's pinging me right now, you're going to have to wait till after the show.
Yeah.
But my direct cell is 310-993-3561.
3561. Okay. So, and again, your email address is?
tssfinisher@gmail.com.
Okay. TS, S is in Sam, S is in Sam, finisher at gmail.com. Okay, you guys. So you have a way to get a hold of her if you're wanting someone to help you get back some time, because we talk about this all the time. If your business owns you versus you owning your business, that's not why you got into business, right? So that means you need a little bit of help and someone to assist you. And Isabel is that person, except don't bother her on July 30. Is it the 30th?
The 30th.
On the 30th, because she is getting married that day. But we'll keep that one a secret since she's like a celebrity. So I don't want people to bother her on the day of her wedding and show up where she's getting married. But I'll tell you, it's on the West Coast. Just a little hint there for you guys. So we have a lot today in our show to cover, and Isabel's going to be joining us the entire time. So we're going to hear from her throughout the show and talk a little bit with her. And if for any of those of you that haven't remembered, we have our Boston Luncheon coming up on Tuesday. That's coming up this next Tuesday on the 16th, and we do have some seats left for that. So if you haven't already registered, please go out to the website at www.leadupforwomen.com/events, and you can find all of the information out there on that event. We have speakers Carolyn Mix. She's a speaker and a coach. We have Dr. Lori Monaco. All of these ladies have already been on our show. So you can go back and click on Voice America Empowerment Channel. You can click on all of these shows. Last week's show had Dr. Lori Monaco on it, Marilyn Brennan. We also had Carol Mix. So be sure to jump out there and listen to those shows so you can get to know those ladies a little bit better. They have so much to offer you on really, we want you to become aware of what's holding you back and develop that self-discipline for you to be able to live your best life. That's what Lead Up for Women is. And we want to make sure that you guys are aware that we're here for you, and you can become a member at any time. Just go out to our website. I'd like to welcome Kayla and Rose and Ashlyn and Glenn to the show today on Facebook. Thank you for joining us. And if you guys have any questions, please be sure to post them out there. And also, please be sure to go out to our website and grab a newsletter. So right when you go out to the website, it'll pop up. Put your information in, and you can stay in the know. I have a magazine. Last week I talked about this, and it's hot off the press. So you've got one right there in front of you. Isabel's got one. So Lorraine Tallman is the founder and CEO of Amanda Hope Rainbow Angels. This was a beautiful story. We had her on our show, and go back and please listen to that show. She is just an amazing individual, and her little 13-year-old daughter who passed away of cancer cancer was her angel that led her, and her daughter actually came up with the idea of these clothes, and for her to help families that are going through struggles when they have someone who has cancer. And so it's a really great story. It's a great read, and she's on the cover, and we're so blessed to have her grace the cover of our magazine. So again, Lorraine, thank you so much. You can get yourself a copy. Just go out to our website and go ahead and click on the one on the bottom of the front page. You can check it out and see if you like it. And then, of course, you can go ahead and get signed up so you can start receiving those magazines yourself. We also have a webinar coming up. We have so much information that we want to be giving women. Yes. We have a webinar coming up on Enneagrams. Now, Enneagrams are personality tests, but very specific ones that really work on the type of personality you were born with and then show you the path of growth in that type and the type of career you should be in and how you should be navigating yourself and how that personality type will help you under stress. You know, we know our bodies are meant for stress, and stress is a positive thing. I know a lot of us see stress as a negative thing, but it's a positive thing for your body.
Just to be positive.
Yeah,
that's crazy talk.
It is. Well, because our bodies were meant to stretch and be able to handle the stress, which is good because it helps your body grow and learn. But we utilize stress in today's world as a negative. And it's really a positive.
Well, because oftentimes people put on too much stress.
Right.
And that could be detrimental, and that can hurt you a lot.
And stress, if you're talking about it in that type of a situation, that generally has to do with the future. So when we're talking about that type of stress and you get the anxiety that comes with that, you're thinking about something that's going to happen and you're letting it affect you today versus it's going to happen anyway. So allowing it to just happen, that's that stress that we put on ourselves is what's coming, usually not what's in the present.
Okay.
So being in the present, not worrying about what's in the future, it's going to come anyway, but prepping for it so that when it gets here, you're ready.
Yeah, right? There was a quote, I forget who it's by right now, but it's like the past has already happened, the future is uncertain, but this moment is a present. So embrace the moment.
That's great advice for our listeners. Thank you, Isabel. See, I knew there's a reason why you're on the show today. So I want to bring in our first guest, Katie Dalton. And what I love about Katie, first of all, she's just this cutest little thing. And she is the Vice President of Audience Rewards. And what I love about Katie is her message that she has for women and how she supports women and stands behind women, and how she's really in her job of her dreams and has worked her way up the ladder. And I wanted to jump in here and introduce her while we still had some time left in our first segment. So, Katie, are you there by chance?
I am here. It's great to hear your
voice. Katie's coming in from Manhattan, New York. So how's it going out there in New York, sweetie?
It's great. It's finally summer. It took a little time to get here, but summer is my favorite season, so what's not to like?
Yeah, especially in New York and Manhattan. It's got to be gorgeous this time of year out there. It's a little hot here. 113, I think, today.
I think it's going to be 113 today, and I think 120 later in the week.
Yeah, it's going to be really
very
warm.
hot.
Yeah, so I'm kind of glad I'm sneaking over to Vegas.
Even with that temperature, I wish I were there with you now.
We do too. So you're here in spirit, and then you're here on the phone. So we're glad that you're joining us today. And I just wanted to talk a little bit with you for you to share with our listeners a little bit about how you have found the job that you're in, or the role in the community, the role that you play in the community of Audience Rewards, and how that has given so much back to you.
Absolutely. So I like to say that I don't have my dream job, and that's only because I couldn't have dreamed up a role or a community that's as perfect of a fit as this has been for me. So I initially learned about working in theater marketing really as a happy accident. As a student and during college, I wanted to be a journalist and loved theater on the side. And it's only by accident that I stumbled upon an internship that connected communications, which is similar to what I was interested in with journalism, taking communications and marketing into a role inside the theater. And that was a light bulb moment for me that I could combine my professional interests with something that I feel very passionate about and enjoy. And since I stumbled upon that internship, I have stayed very, very focused on remaining on that path and have now worked in theater marketing in various capacities for close to 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's so amazing. I know a lot of women are sitting out there thinking, oh my gosh, that would just be awesome. I want to do that. And I have to ask you, is this just something that's been on your heart that you've had, that you know you've wanted to do? And do you even feel like it's a job when you go to work every day?
Any job has tasks that we may not all enjoy every moment. Mine is no different, but I do feel very, very lucky. I think, anyone's success, mine included, is the product of both focus and effort, but also a great deal of luck. I feel very grateful to be in the community that I'm in, and it does come with a lot of perks. So I do get to see a lot of shows and have a lot of really wonderful experiences. Audience Rewards is the loyalty program for Broadway, so we are similar to a frequent flyer program for theater fans. So they earn points when they buy tickets to Broadway shows and then can redeem those points for free tickets. Or one of the most fun things that we do as a business is allow our members to redeem for unique experiences. So being able to attend an opening night or meet a cast member backstage or take a dance class with a cast member. So we are creating those opportunities for theater fans. And in doing so, we get to experience them as well. So it really is a lot of fun.
Wow, that's wonderful.
And so much of the team is also a big part of that because it's no one person taking full responsibility for everything. It's equal share. Everyone's contributing because you all have a similar passion for the same message. And so that's amazing that you've been able to accomplish so much. And that's just a great feat of its own.
Yeah, I think that working in theater, and I'm sure there are many other industries like this, we are all there for a unifying reason, which is that we love it. And the result of that is a community that I think is bonded by that shared interest and really does feel like a community that I think is also really important for me in both enjoying my work, but also reaching success and feeling like I have a support system.
Yeah. And you built this, you said you spent a lot of time building the business from startup. For audience rewards into the stable, successful program that it is today. And I
joined during the startup phase.
Yeah. So when we get back from break, let's talk about how that startup, what maybe one of those hurdles and struggles you had in the startup phase, and how you overcame that, and what you learned that's been valuable for you today in being the executive vice president at Audience Rewards. I'd love to talk a little bit more about that. But for now, we're going to run to break. So listeners, stay with us because when we get back, we're going to continue talking to Katie Dalton. We'll be right back.
All right, perfect. Great job. All clear. Back in
Thanks,
a couple.
Monk. All right, Facebook. So we're off live for our listeners. But we're with Facebook Live. We'll just sit right here. It's fine. Yeah. Yeah. All right, so we got a photo. And I want to welcome Christy. I think this might have been your first time. So Christy is my niece and my hairdresser, and she just did my hair yesterday. It just looks so beautiful. She added some extra highlights and did a toner. So thank you so much, Christy, for joining us today. And I think I mentioned everyone else that was on the phone already. Kayla, thanks for joining us today. I hope little Lila and Avi, my two grandchildren, are listening. It's always fun to have them listening and watching Grandma on the show. So when we get back, we'll talk with Katie some more, and then we'll bring in Stephanie after, toward the end of the session there. But how you feeling today, Katie?
Pretty good. I was a little nervous, but
I know you did great.
Decided to take the risk.
Yeah. You got to do another photo? Okay, hold on real quick, Katie. We got to do one more photo here.
No problem.
There you go. That's good.
Is it better? Do you want me to stand up, or you okay? Okay, cool. You did great, Katie. So that's why I say don't over prepare, because I think if you over prepare, you get super nervous, and this gives you the opportunity to just relax and talk, and it's everything you and I have already talked about, everything we've already said. So
Totally agree. And you're such a natural, warm host that you make it easy.
You're so sweet. Thank you so much. It's because I get to work with awesome people like you. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
There we go. Women supporting women, everyone.
Right?
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, so when we get back, I want to talk more about the company, what's it called? You're part of a foundation. Yes, the nonprofit foundation. Yeah, and I don't see that.
I'd love to chat about that.
In my notes. What was the name of that? Movement Foundation.
Yeah.
Spelled, and I try to keep correcting it, and I was like, no, they're meaning you're meant to move. That's what it means.
Exactly.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that when we get back, because I know that you're a board member for them.
All right, sorry to jump in here, but we're coming back in about 12 seconds.
Sounds great. Thanks, Monk. Monk's always like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, why are you sorry?
Like,
you got to direct this show.
You're doing
man.
your job. That's the whole point.
If you weren't directing this show, who would do it?
You are listening to Lead Up for Women. Speak up to lead up. To reach the show today, please call 1-888-346-9141. That's 1
Hi, Lilium. Thanks for joining us today on our show.
You may also send an email to info@leadupforwomen.com.
I can't see you.
Now, back to this week's show.
It's just fine. Hey there, listeners. Welcome back. You are listening to Lead Up for Women, Speak Up to Lead Up. And that was my co-host, Isabel Donadio, speaking. Donadio. Dang, I'm going to get that right one of these times. And I am your host, Colleen Biggs. So thank you so much for joining us here on Voice America Empowerment Channel. Also, thank you for joining us on Facebook Live. And we want to say hi to all of our Facebook Live listeners. And please feel free to post a question if you have one. And all of the information we talk about today, contact information for Isabel that we talked about earlier, contact information we're going to be given about Katie, all of that will be uploaded and out on our Facebook page for this video that we're doing today. So be sure to go out there and check that out, especially if you're looking for additional resources. So we have been talking to Katie. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
And she was just talking to us a lot about audience rewards and how she got started with audience rewards. And now I wanted to jump into, right before break, we talked about a hurdle that she had with starting up and getting that program successfully stable and what she learned from that. So is there any tips out there or something you learned that you can share with our listeners?
Sure. I think something that we experienced as a startup, and I think remains an important thing to keep in mind always, is that failure, what feels like failure, may not actually be a failure, but is something that we can learn from. So certainly in the startup phase, as a brand new business, Audience Rewards is around 10 years old. I've been there for 9 of those years. So we were in very early stages when I started. And we tried a lot of various efforts that failed. And rather than getting stuck in those failures gave us the knowledge and the ability to pivot and try something else and try something that would eventually succeed. So I think that's a lesson that is not just relevant in those early stages, but can continue to inform how we view our projects and what feels like a failure in the moment, even now.
Yeah. I love the word pivot. I call it course correct. So I think it's the same thing, right? And it's not failure because you learned so much from that, right? There's so much that you learned from what you went through, which just made Audience Rewards that much stronger for where you guys are today. Yeah. Yeah. Failure to me is it's just learning.
Yeah.
It's just course correcting, pivoting, learning. And if you look at it as that and in a positive manner, it will be that.
Yeah. Always come into a space as a student. Always be willing to learn the hard lessons, the easy lessons, and going back to basics almost. And for some people, it can be hard for them to go backwards a little bit when they've seen so much progress and seen so many successes. Yeah. It's like, why do we need to go back to basics? Well, that's where everything starts. If you're going on a new course, you're trying something different, you're learning from an experience, you have to start from basics again and work your way up, because it's not going to be the same way how it was before.
Absolutely. So making sure that foundation's super strong and, going back and revisiting that. Katie, thanks for sharing that with us. I know that's a good tip for our listeners, and thanks, Isabel, for that as well. So let's talk a little bit about how you're a volunteer board member for Movement Foundation, and I want to throw it out there that it's movement, like meant to move, not movement, but MEANT. Movement. Well, move men. Move women, we would say. But Movement Foundation, which is a nonprofit empowering girls through fitness. Girl, you got my heart with that. Because, I'm a personal trainer, and I just came from a camp yesterday at Jabs, which is a fitness place in Queen Creek for women. And I taught a camp of girls that were 10 to 14 about self-defense. So and today I get to go back and teach about vision boards and SMART goals. I'm super excited I'm so blessed to have this opportunity to do that. And tell me about this nonprofit that empowers girls through fitness and how people can get involved in it.
Yes, Movement Foundation is an organization that is all about helping girls build confidence using fitness or moving their body. It's important to note that we are encouraging fitness not as a way to achieve beauty ideals, but as a way to feel strong and capable. So we are all about that feeling that you get after you push yourself in a hard workout. You show yourself how strong you are and how you can achieve something that maybe you didn't know you could accomplish. We do that in a couple of ways. We have a body positive school curriculum for middle schoolers. All of us who have been a middle school girl knows that those are very challenging years and can be really hard on confidence for girls. Yeah. So that's one of our core programs. And another is a grant program. We call them Meant to Move grants. And we fund girls to participate in sports. And beyond building confidence, these programs are designed to help build life skills as well. It's proven that by participating in sports, girls and boys learn things like teamwork and collaboration and skills that can transfer really all the way through into their adult life.
Yeah, and I'm going to chime in really quickly. I actually did softball for 5 years. I did community softball in college and high school. And yes, everything you just said about, understanding teamwork, communication skills, being able to rely on the person next to you, being able to have the confidence to rely on yourself, because a lot of times you have that split moment where you have to make a decision. And being athletic, being physically active, being on a team, it really does almost force you into those situations because you don't really have a choice in that. But because you're building that confidence, that translates to anything else, whether it's basketball, football, softball, soccer, any other kind of sports, gymnastics, golfing. You're relying on your developing instincts and that confidence level for yourself, and which will translate into everything else you do.
Yeah, and I think the organization resonates with me because I was very, very shy as a kid. I'm actually so curious to hear about the webinar and the personalities that we were born with. For me, it was very shy and easily intimidated and didn't always feel like I fit in. And I certainly credit some of the sports and organized activities that I participated in as a teenager as some of the first moments that really helped me to come out of my shell. I had, suddenly had a team of girls around me, a community that was supportive, and that was we were all working together towards common goals. And just I've experienced firsthand the power that those experiences can have in a girl's life. And so Movement Foundation is all about providing those experiences for girls who may not otherwise have access.
So if somebody wanted to reach out to learn more about that Movement Foundation, could you let them know which states you have those in today, if they can donate? Where would we go online?
Our website is movementfoundation.org. And as you mentioned, movement is spelled with an A. So movement, as in meant to move, foundation.org. Or anyone can email me at katie@movement.org.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that today. And thank you so much for joining us on our show. Katie, I've got your information out there on Facebook and the foundation. So if anyone is interested in how they can donate to help empower girls through fitness. And, I love the encouraging them to feel strong and confident. I have a T-shirt that says strong is the new skinny. Because I don't think it's important that you're skinny. I think that it's important that you're strong, you love yourself. Those are, and that is what creates that confidence for girls. There's no need
and that we value our bodies for everything that they can do.
Yes,
just what they look like.
Right. Yeah. So what you're capable of doing. And when I teach fitness classes, I remind everybody in the class, I have 12-year-olds that will show up all the way up to 65, I think actually 70 in my class. And I say, hey, you showed up for you today. So it's all about you. It's all about what you want to get out of today, how you want to push yourself. Listen to your body. Take a break when you need it. Get a drink of water. But this isn't about anybody else in this room. We're not comparing anyone. It's about what you can give to yourself tonight, and that's why you showed up. And I think that's a really important message that you're sending. So, Katie, thank you so much. Katie was at our luncheon that we had in Philadelphia in the Vault. Was that not fun? That was a great...
It was wonderful.
Yeah, that room was awesome.
I got to meet you in person.
Yeah.
All of the women there. So highly recommend everyone go to the next one.
Thank you. Thanks for that shout out. We appreciate it. And thanks for joining us today on our show. Katie, it's been wonderful speaking with you. So thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. See you, sweetie. All right.
Bye.
So now we have Stephanie joining us. Stephanie, are you there?
Hi, Holly.
There she is.
Hello.
Yes, Isabel and I can hear you just fine. This is Stephanie Lee Jackson, and Stephanie found us, Lead Up for Women. She's a practical sanctuary sensory interior design. This is a lot to say. One sentence, specializing in design for highly sensitive people. And I love what you do because there's so many individuals out there that struggle with autism or other related hurdles. And you didn't start off doing this. This wasn't what you thought you were meant to do in life. And that's why I love the universe and how God has blessed each one of us with something so unique as a skill that we have to give the world. And you're doing it, girl. But you didn't start off that way, right?
Not at all. No, this job found me.
Yeah.
I was a fine artist pretty much my whole life, and I never considered doing anything else. I was so completely determined, and I thought of myself as a starving artist, and I made it an identity issue that I was never, ever going to quit. And I did the whole 9 yards. I moved to Mexico and painted for years. And then I moved to New York and painted and blogged and networked and started on my own gallery and curated shows and reviewed shows. And in 2009, the economy tanked and I had my daughter. And my art career was not sustaining us. And I had to completely rethink things. So I learned some business skills, and I took my massage therapy practice full time. I moved to Philadelphia, and after a few years, my clients started commissioning their own spaces because they liked the way I had done my space for massage. And I told them, no, I don't do art anymore. And they said, here's a check. And I said, okay, I do this. And it turned out that's what I was meant to do.
Yeah.
That creating a specific space for a specific person to make them feel a specific way is what gives me joy. Really paying attention, close attention to my clients and what they needed and what their bodies needed, and really understanding how light works and how color works and how ceiling height works and how sound works. Things that were obvious to me were not obvious to my clients, and I would show them, and they would have this aha moment that like, oh, right, okay. Once I pointed it out to them, they totally got it.
Yeah.
So it never even occurred to me that someone would pay me to do this because it's just so much fun.
Do you think that you starting off as being an artist and being a massage therapist, that those two combined, because I know massage therapy, you can feel a lot of energy from a person's body and learn a lot about them just through touch. Do you feel that helped play a role into, and then having the artistry on the side and being an artist?
Oh, definitely. Massage therapy taught me that there were a lot of things that I was sensing that, first of all, were real and that I was good at. I didn't expect to be good at massage therapy. I kind of got the certification as a challenge because I didn't think I'd be good at it. I was really drawn to alternative healing, and I was fascinated by it, and I thought I would just learn massage therapy to kind of get my feet wet.
Yeah.
And then I'd move on to something else, and I turned out to be really good at it because it was using a set of skills that we don't tend to talk about in the United States. We think of the important things being how you think and how it's all very cerebral. That how you manage things, like being a professional, being a doctor, being the one who does all the mental work is what's high status. And doing something with your hands, well, that's manual labor. That's not really very important. And when I put my hands on someone, I could sense all of these things. And there were all of these very subtle messages that I was getting, and I respond to them, and my clients would respond. And I realized that I do so much thinking with my hands. And that was also true with the art, that I was thinking with my hands. And so I developed all of these skills that didn't necessarily translate to a job that I could go do at a corporation, but it was a really huge skill set that I was able to deploy in service of what people need.
Absolutely. I think you're also giving a pathway for people that want to or need to be in the workspace and want to be in the workspace, but functionally are having a difficult time. And in today's world, corporate offices are changing. They have prayer rooms. They have rooms for, females to be able to nurse. There's a lot of changes.
Right.
And I believe what you're doing is a change. And so I, first of all, want to thank you for changing the world. But second of all, we've got to run to break. So as we run to break, I want our listeners to hang around with us because Stephanie just got started. There's so much more we're going to dive into.
I'm excited. I'm excited to hear more about all this.
She's fascinating, just fascinating, and I knew our listeners would love her. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Stephanie Lee Jackson. Don't go away.
All right, perfect. Great job. All clear.
Thanks, Monk. Hey, Stephanie. How are you, girl?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. So we're just on break right now for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And so we're just going to say hi to our Facebook friends real quick. We've had some friends join us. So hello, everybody, for joining us on Facebook. Hi. I've got the information out there for Stephanie said hi. You guys can hear her. They can hear you. It's a direct feed, so they can hear everything that we're talking about right now. And we've got all of Katie Dalton's information by Robert, our videographer and photographer's leaving. And we have Katie's information out there. So if any of you are interested in getting a hold of the Movement Foundation, go ahead and and jump onto our Facebook page for anything that you need. Stephanie, if you haven't already, like that page because we're going to be tagging you in this as soon as the show's over today. So make sure that you've got yourself on there, and we'll make sure that we share your contact information on there as well when we get back from break, so that everyone has that information. And then, of course, your bio and everything is out on our e-card, so you can continue to share that. And then, people can listen not just through our listeners are global, and they don't just go through the Voice America. There's a way for them to listen through iTunes, you name it. There's about 13 outlets for them to listen to.
By the way, congratulations, by the way, on reaching so many countries.
Thank
you. 7 earlier you said?
Yeah,
that was awesome.
I think we might even be up to like 8 or 9 right now. So I just got the stats in this last week, and we're in like Pakistan, Finland, Ireland, Russia, China. I can't remember what the other countries are, but of course, United States. But the numbers are growing in other countries. So it's so nice that we're global and that we can affect and get our message out and share our voice worldwide for women and men. We have a lot of men that join our show too and listen and comment. So I love that we have that opportunity to affect men too. So. It's not just women. So we should be coming back here in a few minutes, and then we'll wrap up, Stephanie, with you, and then we will finish up and wrap up the show.
Great. All right, we are coming back. Here we go.
All right. Thanks, Monk. Here we go. Awesome. It's fun, huh?
It really is.
It's fun, right?
You are listening to Lead Up for Women.
How do I get my own
Speak
show?
Up to Lead Up. To reach the show, please call 1-888-346-9141.
I got the girl to connect you with here that's like...
That's 1-888-346-9141.
And you can be part of the women's series.
People have been trying to get me
you may also send
a
an
radio
email
show
to
here forever.
at leadupforwomen.com.
Yeah.
Now, back to this week's show.
Well, welcome back, listeners. You are listening to Lead Up for Women,
Hello.
Speak Up to Lead Up. That is my beautiful co-host, Isabel, joining me today. And if any of you want to see how beautiful she is and go check her out, you can head to our Facebook page and go look at our live videos. And we have been chatting with the amazing artist, I'm just going to call you an artist, Stephanie Lee Jackson. Welcome back, hon.
Thank you. Thanks, Colleen.
And she's changing the world. I didn't even go into what she has done since she got her BA, but she spent a couple of decades making art while she was a massage therapist that she talked about, but she lived as an expat painter in Guanajuato? Guanajuato, yes. Mexico. Ooh, see that? I got a little accent in there. For 3 years, she co-founded Three Muses Art Space in San Francisco, founded Healing Arts in Brooklyn, and Practical Bodywork in Philadelphia, and blogged at Pretty Lady at the Brooklyn days. Gosh, you've accomplished so much already in your lifetime. And I just talk a little bit more about the murals and interior design that you do for clients. How do you get the word out? Is it just word of mouth? Does another client tell one of their friends or someone they meet, like,
Pretty
oh my
much.
gosh, you've got to hire Stephanie?
It's something that I had not considered doing, and that what I discovered was that people who respond to me as a massage therapist tend to respond to my energy, full stop. Mm-hmm. So they would see some artwork in my massage room and they would say, oh, I have an idea and I want you to do something in my house or for my business. Mm-hmm. And it just seemed that they respond to my energy. So I have some people who, whatever I do, they will get on board with it, which was, really pretty amazing for me to discover that was the case. So when I started my design business, it happened organically, kind of with my clients having ideas and saying, oh, I think you could do this. And I would look at what they wanted and I'd say, well, I don't think that's going to work, but I understand what you're trying to do here and I can give you that feeling that you're wanting in this other way. And so we would end up collaborating. I would use my creative skills in service of their creative vision. Mm-hmm. So that was a way for me to deploy all of my art skills that I really had stopped using in a professional way, in a way that was in service to other people.
Yeah.
And I found that was more satisfying to me than just being alone in a studio creating these objects that, they made me happy, but they weren't out there in the world doing very much.
Because everything you're creating with an intention, with a purpose in mind. So when people see your art and they're receiving, the inspiration that emits from it, it really comes across in everything that you put into your work, your designs, from the lines that you put. It does reflect. People do receive that message, and some people may not, because they're not really open to receiving those kinds of messages.
Well,
but
and that's fine. People are different. They vibrate on different frequencies.
And
what
that
I
was
found
what I was
was
trying to find.
Either we're on the same frequency or we're not, and there's no judgment inherent about that. It was just that certain types of people were drawn to what I do, and they would walk into my studio and they'd look at a painting and they'd say, "Wow." And they would get what that painting was saying. And so those tended to be the people that, when I started doing design work, would come back and ask for a project.
And now you're creating healing spaces. So I can only imagine living this purpose and the gratitude that you receive when you're able to create a healing space for someone that's so functional for them. Is so rewarding.
Yes, it really is. And there is so much in what's trendy design-wise these days has jettisoned a lot of things that are important for people. One of the biggest things is that the aesthetic design trends in restaurants these days are very, very loud. They have eliminated all of the things in a traditional restaurant that would absorb sound. Like carpeting and padded booths and, wallpaper and tapestries and fancy fiddly things that bounce sound around. So when you walk into a trendy restaurant these days, it is so loud that you really can't have a conversation.
Hard space, like hard walls, hard spaces, hard floors.
Sound is just bouncing off everywhere, and that changes the experience. First of all, you can't have a long, intimate conversation over a meal, which for me is, most of the fun of going out to eat. And second of all, for people who are highly sensitive, which runs 20 to 25%, and that's probably a conservative estimate, they really don't enjoy being there at all. It's painful and it's draining to be in an environment that is that loud.
Overstimulating, right?
Way
overstimulating.
It is. And there are people who cannot track a conversation because they can't filter out the extraneous noise. Lots of people's brains work that way. There are people that are hearing impaired who cannot track a conversation because, the sound is not coming in the right way. And that is not being considered when these places are being designed. And I'm over here on the corner waving a big red flag saying, stop. You need to think about this.
And that's not something that a lot of people will truly consider, or they'll know about it, but they won't really think about it. Like I myself, I'm aware of my space, my body, how I can do things, and if someone's talking to me and I'm in the middle of a crowded room and there's music playing in the background, it's just too much for me to process, and I have to. And sometimes I'll stare really intently at the person I'm talking to. And towards the end of the conversation, I'll realize I'm making a crazy face because I'm trying to focus so hard on what they're trying to say.
She's like growling at the person just with this
I'm just like
intent face.
I'm like all tense and I'm listening, or even when I'm at home, the kids are running around, the TV's on, and people are trying to talk to me, and something has to turn off. And you can't turn off the volume on kids, so the music or the TV gets shut off because I need to, because what they're saying or what they're sharing with me is important, and I want to give my full attention. And so going to these restaurants, going to these spaces can be very difficult.
So many people, that's what you just pointed out, so many people are working so hard to make the space work for them, and we just assume that that's what we have to do. And it doesn't have to be that hard if there is a little bit of thought in the planning phase, in the design phase of any building. What's going to happen here? how do people need to feel? What in the environment is going to facilitate people feeling that way, as opposed to what in the environment is going to make a big splash and make me look great, but then everyone who comes in here is going to be struggling just to function.
Yes.
There's a need for what you do. There's a need for functional spaces that really speak to everyone and not segregating, and really speak to those that do have hurdles in those spaces. And we want to be able to make them inviting for everyone and not just a choice few. And so, and you made a lot of great points today. And I want to thank you so much for joining us and for giving us all the information that you did. Now, if somebody wanted to reach you, Stephanie, and they wanted to find out how they could hire you to work on their restaurant or on their home, if they had a child with autism or any space that they needed to create a functional caring space for their person or their customers, how would they reach you?
Just go to my website. It's practicalsanctuary.com.
Okay.
You can sign up for my free e-course. It's called the Eccentric Genius Habitat Intervention.
Okay.
And it's a pop-up on my website.
Okay.
You can follow me on Instagram at Practical Sanctuary, and I'm also on Facebook.
Great. So Practical Sanctuary is where we find you everywhere?
Practical Sanctuary is how you find me, yes.
Okay, wonderful. So I know you're also a speaker. Is that correct?
Oh.
Yes, that is. That is correct.
So I don't know, Isabel, you and her might have some talking to do on if there's anything you can do to assist her, get her any speaking engagements.
I always have speaking opportunities coming up. I actually have a couple events coming up. So I'll definitely have to talk with you more.
Let's connect, Isabel. There is a video on my website of me giving a talk on neurodiversity and design.
Okay.
Yes, everyone should watch that. I watched that.
I can tailor. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's really,
I can tailor the talk to the group.
Yeah.
Depending on who people are, they're interested in different things.
Absolutely.
So I have 3 different versions of that talk.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So thank you again for joining us today, Stephanie. It was just a wonderful conversation.
And I really enjoyed it.
I want to thank you so much for what you've done for the Lead Up for Women community and what you continue to do for families out there and for others. It's just amazing how much you bring and the calmness. I just think of the space of it being so calm and functional and not that kind of sensory overload. And we all need those spaces. That's why spas are created the way they're created, with the music and the types of carpet and the
even rooms that have like this kind of padding that we
Mm-hmm.
have around the studio. It just helps block out a lot of the sound, so you can just reconnect with yourself, find that inner peace, and it. So, some people think it's a little crazy, and just because you're around noise every day. You're around, a lot of people who are going to be talking. There's going to be noises. But really, when you just take a moment for yourself and just reconnect, it makes a world of a difference for you.
Yes, spas are in my future.
It's been scientifically proven that 2 hours of silence a day helps your immune system heal.
That's
and the converse of that is if you cannot get silence, you cannot heal. So it's incredibly important.
Incredibly important.
I worked as a massage therapist in Manhattan with jackhammers outside the window.
Oh my
goodness. And I felt like I was trying to create a shield around my client to keep the jackhammer out.
Yeah.
And that should just be something that's built into the space that you're in.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again so much for joining us, Stephanie. And I know that you're going to be around and we're going to be seeing you in the future.
Yes, I will see you in September in New York.
Yep. I'm very excited about that. So take care, Stephanie. Thank you for joining us. It was really great to have you on the show today. Take care.
Great to talk to you. Bye-bye.
All right, listeners. So we are going to be wrapping up our show now. Isabel? Thank you again for
Thank you
being
so much
on the
for
show
having
today.
me.
I think you guys should vote. I think we should have Isabel back. She's so much fun to have in the studio, so we should definitely have her back. Thank you, Facebook friends, for joining us today. And just a couple of notes for our listeners. We do have another luncheon coming up in Columbus on July 25th, Columbus, Ohio. We have Erin Joy. She's the founder and CEO of Black Dress Circle, and it's a roundtable for women CEOs to collaborate and bounce ideas off of each other. And we have so many wonderful experts that have joined Lead Up for Women in the community. We're about helping you tap into yourself and live your best life. And remember, there's only ever been one you. Mm-hmm. There will only ever be one you.
Yep.
So you got to be the best you possible. Mm-hmm. You have to pioneer your future. And like I am, I keep beating this dead horse, but we have this unique fingerprint, and not one of 7.5 billion people in the world have the same fingerprint as you. So I'd like you to ask yourself something today. Why do you keep trying to fit in when you are meant to stand out? That's what you're meant to do. Meant to find your purpose. God placed you on this earth with a specific skill, and you know what's burning on your heart. And our community of Lead Up for Women are here to help you tap into what that power is and learn how you can build what you want to build with that. And maybe it's the career you're already in, but you want to be able to do it better. Or maybe it's something on the side that you want to start building, or you want to take a leap and start your own business. It's what you want. That's what we're here to support you with. So next week, we're on the road. We're going to Boston. So our next week's show, we're going to be in Boston, and we are going to be interviewing mobily. I'll be mobile. We're going to be interviewing some of the ladies at the Boston luncheon and get their feedback on the luncheon and why they attended, and talk to the panelists. So just want to let you all know that that's what's going on next week. And those shows have a lot of listeners all the time. They love to listen to the women that are attending the luncheon. So again, if you haven't gotten your ticket, roll out there to leadupforwomen.com/events. Grab your ticket. And remember, you can email me at info@leadupforwomen.com anytime you'd like. I'll respond to you. If you want to learn more about what we have to offer, you can go out to our website and click around on the About section. There's a video, and I'm in the video. So if you're a listener and you haven't seen me yet, this is a good chance for you to get to know me. So
you need to see her. She's gorgeous. She's amazing.
Oh, you're awesome, Isabel. Thanks for that today. All right, you guys, I want you to have a wonderful week, and we look forward to talking with you again next week on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Don't forget, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a wonderful week. Live your best life. See you all next week. Bye.
All right, great show. All clear.
Thanks.